Okay, so here's part 2 of my original video of what would happen if Vader never turned back the light. So here we go. Luke would lunge at Vader, who would barely block him. Ahsoka jumped into the fight as well. Vader was severely outmatched. He had to separate them. He lifted Luke up using the Force and threw him into a boulder. Ahsoka, angered by this, would attack him with aggressive thrust of attacks. He would have a hard time blocking it. Vader switched to offense with multiple overhead attacks. Ahsoka wasn't strong enough to defend against Vader's advanced robotics. She would push him back with the Force and run towards the castle. Vader would follow in pursuit. She would jump on the castle, running up the side of it to the top. Vader, in one humongous jump, would leap on the top, looking down at her. Storm clouds were starting to move in, lightning striking the huge volcanoes on the planet, creating great explosions. Ahsoka would be distracted by this. Vader would swing his blade at her. She would block with both her blades in her necks. He would push down with tremendous force. Her back would start to bend more and more as he leaned over her. She then falls to the ground, kicks him off of her, and then recovered. As he was getting up, he would receive multiple kicks from her, and she would strike his shoulder with her blade. Angered by this, Vader would force choke her, holding her in the air, throw her to the ground, and zap her with kinetite for 2 minutes straight. He ignited his blade to finish it all. As he brought it down, it was met with the emerald green blade of Luke Skywalker, looking each other directly in the eyes as they were in an intense blade lock. Luke wasn't able to handle Vader all on one. He would strike down on him again and again and again. Luke was having flashbacks when he was doing this same thing to Vader 5 years earlier. Vader finally knocking Luke's blade out of his hand would bring his blade up one last time and went down one more time as he was struck by a gigantic bolt of lightning from the storm clouds above. He would fall off the castle, would get up and retrieve his saber, jumping off the castle. Vader would get back on his feet when he heard a war cry. Looking in the air, seeing Luke, he would ignite his blade just in time to block falling back on the ground. He would push Luke off of him. Vader was severely weakened, but he still had some fight. His everlasting endurance could be the factor to decide the fight. Both are recovering. Luke force pushes Vader into the lava. Sigh of relief, he begins to leap. Then he turns to see Vader walking out of the lava, unscathed, jumping, grabbing a saber. Luke would dodge this and cut his cape in half, while jumping over to land on the machine that moved through the rock. Vader would jump onto it as well. The duel will continue. It would be evenly matched. He grew even more tired as the fight progressed. He would jump onto an ashy hill and say, "It's over, Father. I have a high ground." Vader would have flashbacks in that very moment. It was the same exact place where he was destroyed by Obi-Wan. "You underestimate my power." "Don't try," Luke said. Vader leapt into the air, but was pushed by an immense force to the ground. Ahsoka recovered from what happened. She pulled out a single blade, stabbed his upper chest, and pushed him into the river of lava. Luke stared at the lava as a bunch came out of the river toward them, which they dodged. Vader would again rise out of the river of lava. This time, the cracks in his suit would be glowing red, and the hole in his chest would feel on fire. With all his hatred, he lunged at Ahsoka, picking her up with the Force, throwing her the most powerful Force push he could summon. He looked at Luke, who stood ready, dead silent, except for Vader's breathing, which was heavy. Both ignited their blades, still both silent, waiting for the other to make the first move. Luke would move his foot a little bit, and the gravel being pushed seemed like a loud crack of thunder. Then he would be attacked by Vader. Vader would lunge at him with all of his hatred. Luke flipped over him and stabbed him in the heart, killing him. It was done. Luke held his father as he was dying. Vader, without saying anything, would die. They would then retrieve Ben and leave. Luke would shed a tear that day for the death of his father. Leia and Han would rejoice at seeing their son again. The Empire would crumble over the next few months. Ahsoka and Luke would go their separate ways. Luke would eventually start his own Jedi Order, training Ben once he was old enough. The Mando would be pretty similar as it was in the original timeline, and so would the sequels. And yeah. So, guys, anyways, I'm gonna make a video about Bad Batch soon, and I'm gonna make some other video. I forgot what it was honestly. And I just hope you guys like this. This is just part 2 of the thing. In the part 1, I was supposed to talk longer in the video. I was supposed to talk a bit more about what I thought about the video, but I don't know. It just didn't let me for some reason. I messed up the thumbnail too, and that's because I don't know why. I reposted the video and it still had the same thumbnail. I just don't know why. Please subscribe though. I'm getting more views and stuff, but I'm still like 1 sub. So yeah, please, I'd appreciate a sub, and share some of your friends if you see this. Honestly, if any bigger Star Wars YouTuber sees this, I'd appreciate shout out or something like that. Please.